Good morning, YouTubers. Forest Boy here. Welcome to another day in the Forest of Dean. It's a bit grey and a bit murky, and I can see a few rain spots on the visor already. And it's the 1st of August. Great. Anyway, just a little ride today around the forest. Maybe give you a little bit of history of certain places. So, if you're interested, get yourself a cup of tea. See you after the intro. The Forest of Dean is a royal forest, an ancient woodland. It was a thriving mining community for many years. There's iron ore here. Charcoal was made here. In fact, just here on my left now, right there, believe it or not, was a huge charcoal works many years ago. It's more of a tourist area now than anything else. There's very little industry here. It was mostly an oak forest. There's still quite a few oak trees here, but many years ago it was mostly an oak forest. A lot of the oak was cut down to make the man-of-war ships. And I read recently that it took 300 acres of oak to make a 3-deck man-of-war. I mean, that's a lot of wood. Yeah, so there's not so much oak here now. I mean, there is still quite a bit, but it's mostly quick growing trees. And they're harvested. The Forestry Commission, or whatever they call themselves now, is not called Forestry Commission anymore, but whatever they call themselves, they're in there harvesting the wood all the time and then replanting. So all this forest here where we are now, this is all full of mountain bike trails, fishing lakes. It's a nice place, a beautiful place to come. We're very lucky to live here. I like mountain biking, as I've said on other videos, so this is my playground. This is where I go cycling all the time. And we're cycling off-road on forest trails. And some serious designated downhill mountain biking as well, which me and my mate occasionally do and manage to fall off and scuff a bit of skin off. As you can see from the signpost there, we're right between Monmouth and Gloucester. And strange enough, I was in Jamestown in America touring a few years ago, and we were in this. Yeah, we were at Jamestown, or just outside, and there was a signpost for a town called Monmouth and another signpost for a town called Gloucester. And we were like, wow, well, the people that stayed here or landed here must have originally come from this area, which we found quite fascinating. So this little village that we're going to come into in the next minute or two is the village of Rodin. R-U-A-R-D-E-A-N, Rodin. Rodin is famous for the story of who killed the bears. In the late 1800s, travelling folk used to entertain people in these small villages with bears, dancing bears and that kind of thing. So there were two Frenchmen touring the UK. with 2 Russian bears. And they'd been to Cinderford, which is only a few miles away, which is one of the bigger towns in the forest. They'd been to Cinderford with these bears, and they'd finished Cinderford and decided to come to Rodin. Get a great view here. So they came to Rodin. They were on their way to Rodin, rather, from Cinderford, walking with the bears, and they were being followed by a group of children. Anyway, somehow a story emerged that one of the bears, or the bears, had attacked and killed one of the children. Because there was a rumour going around in those days that the Frenchmen used to feed children to the bears. So a group of people chased after the 2 Frenchmen with the bears and eventually caught them, and by then apparently there were about 200 people. So they killed the bears and they beat up the Frenchmen. He's heard the story. They beat up the Frenchmen, and by then they were nearly at Rodin, and the people of Rodin realised what was happening, so they rescued the Frenchmen and kept them safe and helped them. The case, the police got involved, and it went to the Little Dean Assizes, which was the magistrates' court, is now a museum. A bit of a gory museum, but it is a museum. Here's Rodin, here's the church. And when they were on trial, there was a group of people that were put on trial for killing the bears and beating up the French guys. They were described as colliers and labourers from Rodin. Well, in actual fact, they were from Cinderford. So the people from Rodin were extremely upset about this. And as they'd always said, you can never trust anybody from Cinderford. Probably rings true today as well. So for many, many years, certainly 100 years, if you came into Rodin, this village here, and went into one of the many pubs that were here in those days, I think there's one left now, but in those days there were many pubs. This white building was a pub. I used to drink there as a lad. And said, who killed the bears? You were in for some fisticuffs. And even when I was a lad in the 50s and 60s, that still rang true. You wouldn't come into Rodin, this village, and say who killed the bears unless you were really looking for a fight. And you'd get one. And proper old mining village. They're all a bit like this. It's not the prettiest place. But it's always had a great community spirit, the forest. Great viewpoint from here. You can see a lot of the forest. The River Severn is on the other side of those hills there. That is Cinderford. I don't know if the camera will pick it up from here, but there's a town up on the crest of the hill there. That is Cinderford. That's where all the dodgy buggers live. including me. Yeah, it is a beautiful place, and that's just a very small part of it. And there's the River Wye just there. So I can see it's quite a small area. Okay, this is the little village of Lidbrook, another old mining community many years ago. But Lidbrook is right on the banks of the River Wye. And Ross-on-Wye is just to our right here. So the River Wye is literally just there, 20 yards away. Yeah, I came out today because the forecast for the rest of the week is horrendous. Thunderstorms, heavy rain, gales, wind, high winds. So, get out for an hour today, make a short video. There'll be nothing next week. I'm on holiday. The wife and I are going away in the motorhome. God, I hope the weather's better than it has been. We need a break. Okay, this is the bridge, Kern Bridge over the River Wye. So you'll see the River Wye now. Oh. Guys cutting trees down over there. this is coming back up from Monmouth, which is on the banks of the River Wye. We just crossed the Wye Bridge in Monmouth, back into the forest again. So now we're back in the forest, as you can obviously see. And this road takes you up to another small town called Coalford. C-O-L-E, not C-O-A-L. Coalford has a history of obviously mining, coal mining, but also iron ore. The timber from the Forest of Dean used to supply the South Wales pits, mines, with timber for props, pit props as they called them, for many, many, many years. The local sawmills, that was how they survived. Of course, the death of the coal mining industry put an end to that. More and more of that going on nowadays. People straddling the road, looking at phones, crossing the lines. People driving big 4x4s that are really too big for the roads, they can't drive. So they spend all the time straddling the white line and then ducking back in when something comes the other way. Scary. You see, you need to be looking well ahead, especially on a bike, because you're so vulnerable. I think that guy was on the phone. He had something in his hand, so. Okay, this is called the Roman Road, and the reason it's called the Roman Road is because on the left hand side here there was a Roman road, a cobblestone road, which all the local school children used to come here. Classes were brought there to see it, but for some reason a couple of years ago they decided they couldn't call it a Roman road anymore, so it's called an ancient monument, and they've now let it go into disrepair. So it's all overgrown. It's ruined. Anyway, this Roman road, this area here, this is the bluebell wood. Every year this is a carpet of bluebells. It's absolutely stunning. People come from all over to see it and photograph it. But the last few years, since the boar have been reintroduced here, illegally, but they are, that's another story. Since the wild boar have been here, the bluebells seem to be disappearing. I don't know whether it's because the boar are rooting them up and eating the bulbs, the tubers. I don't know. I haven't got enough knowledge to know about it, but it's very strange that since the boar have been reintroduced, the bluebells seem to be disappearing. The boar. The notorious boar. They split opinion right down the middle. 50% of people think they should be here and we should live with them, which is probably true. And the other 50% hate them with a vengeance and want them all killed. Actually, it's probably 40-40. 40 love them, 40 hate them. The other 20% are somewhere in the middle. I'm in the middle. It's nice to see them, even though they're not real wild boar. They're a bit of a mishmash thing that were let loose illegally, but you know, they're wild animals. They live in the wood, they thrive in the wood, but they need controlling. They are completely out of control now. They're in every village. They destroy everything. They destroy the playing fields, the cricket fields, the football fields. If you forget to put your dustbin, if you put your dustbin out the night before instead of doing it first thing in the morning, they come and empty all the bins. At 2 o'clock in the morning, you can hear them going down the road, emptying everybody's dustbin all over the road. People out there in their underpants chasing boar up and down the road. I've done it myself a couple of times. I don't do it anymore, but they are a nuisance. They do a lot of damage. But yeah, they're wild animals. They're doing what comes naturally to them. So I don't think they should all be killed, but I do think they should be controlled. It's a very contentious subject. Okay, so this little lane is taking us into Cinderford. There is a main road, obviously. I'm doing this one so that I can just show you the view of the River Severn from the top. So you'll see, you've seen the River Wye and now you'll see the River Severn. So I'll pull on along a bit, there's a better spot. So there is the River Severn. As you can see, the forest is firmly wedged between two rivers. The Severn on the left, the Wye on the right. So, there we are, a little short tour around the Forest of Dean. Only scratched the surface. Obviously there's a lot more to it than that, but I just thought I'd get out for an hour. I've got one more of my lake series to do. That'll be Lake Vyrnwy, which basically is North Wales. So there's quite a long ride from here actually. It's not, certainly not local, but it is a stunning ride and it's one of my favourites. So I'll do that when I come back. I'm going away for a few days in the motorhome with my wife. So I'll do that one when I come back and pop that one up. I've had nice comments about it, so thank you very much for those who've commented. Thanks for the subscribers. I really do appreciate it. So, this is Forest Boy signing out. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, give me a thumbs up, make a comment. I like comments. If you want to see some more, hit the subscribe button. You'll get notified when they come up. Okay, that's it for now. Take care, ride safe. See you next time. Bye for now.